You're listening to Whoa! Potluck.
And welcome back to Books and Boba, a book club and podcast featuring book by Asian and Asian American authors. My name is Marvin Yue.
And my name is Rira Yu.
And it is Happy Halloween, Rira. Did you have a good Halloween?
I did. I went to a friend's house, and they live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of Halloween traffic.
Like little kids?
Little kids to like teenagers. And we needed 3 sets of couples because there were so many trick-or-treaters. Like, while one couple would go and buy more candy while the other 2 would pass out candy.
That just sounds stressful.
No, it was cute.
That sounds like work. I don't want that. My house is in a dark street. No kids ever come, and it's awesome.
I don't know. I like seeing trick-or-treaters because it's nostalgic because back when I was a kid, there was trick-or-treat parties. You would go with your schoolmates, and I feel like kids don't really do that anymore.
Well, now it's group led excursions. I feel like you have a horde of kids.
Oh, that's literally what happened. It was just
led by a chaperone or something.
The kids won't walk around the neighborhood. Their parents would drive them to other neighborhoods where there's a lot of Halloween traffic. So that's why there was over 100 kids being trick or treat, and I'm you're so cute, but we have to pay money for these candies that we're giving out.
You're in a good neighborhood then.
It's my friend's neighborhood. It's not my neighborhood. I live in a pretty desolate neighborhood.
Yeah,
You've been.
Yeah, I guess that's the downside of living in a nice neighborhood, well lit with families, is you become literally dragooned into participating in Halloween, because if you don't, your neighbors will not like you anymore.
No, that's not true. They're just going to be disappointed. I mean, if you don't put Christmas lights on, then you're in trouble. Because I feel with those suburban houses, if you don't have Christmas lights on, your house kind of looks sad and kind of brings down the neighborhood mood.
Oh.
I'm saying this because I grew up in a really suburban town in Georgia. So
I feel that's just, I don't know, social pressure to conform to holidays. As long as they're putting the lights after Thanksgiving, it's fine. But if any Christmas lights are up,
I'm okay with Christmas lights. Just don't put reindeers or snowmen outside in your front yard, because Christmas lights are pretty all year round, really. But
my friends have been literally emailing me, DMing me, and tagging me on Facebook posts of all the Christmas stuff they see, just because they know that it drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's your pet peeve.
It's just there's a whole holiday in between Halloween and Christmas.
I remember growing up, because my parents didn't know what Thanksgiving was. We would just eat hot wings or Korean fried chicken, and that was our Thanksgiving dinner.
My family, we went to another family who, we went to our first Thanksgiving dinner at another family friend's place because they wanted to show off the new house, and they made this turkey, this big meal, and my mom and dad were there, and they were we can do this. We can do this better.
Competition, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now my family is super American, and they do the whole Thanksgiving dinner party with the whole table setup with tablecloths and candles and inviting people over. And this happened after I went to college. So for me, I was oh, Thanksgiving has never been a holiday that we celebrated.
Right.
And then my mom got really mad one year because I said, oh, I'm going to spend Thanksgiving with Dan's family because they're really big on Thanksgiving. And my mom was just but we have Thanksgiving dinner with these 2 other families. And I'm when did this happen? When did you become when did you conform to this holiday?
See, we were the opposite. I feel we don't do Thanksgiving dinner as much anymore, mainly because my parents are out of the country.
Well, yeah.
In your family, what's the Asian thing, the Asian addition to
Asian
Thanksgiving?
edition. My family, we have a couple of Korean side dishes for Thanksgiving. Like we have japchae, which is like these clear noodles that you kind of fry. We have bulgogi, and then like my parents get really upset that whenever I can't make it to Thanksgiving now, now that I'm an adult, because I usually bring like 2 casserole dishes, and they get really upset. They're like, because like last year I went to Thanksgiving dinner and I didn't cook anything. I just came with like a bottle of wine, and my parents were like, "Where's the food? Why didn't you cook it?" And I was like. I was busy. I don't have time to cook like 2 different dishes, and they were very disappointed. So
I love how Asian families who adopt the tradition of Thanksgiving dinner also adopt the tradition of getting the family fights.
Oh yeah,
during
all
Thanksgiving.
the time, which is why it's super awkward because no one can leave the table. You're like chained up, and it's just like, oh man, if someone could just pick up kimchi and just like slap it across someone's face, that would make things a little bit more entertaining. But it's just really awkward when you see people just kind of like politely like throwing insults.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a really passive aggressive way.
This is Books and Boba,
I know.
a book club podcast
About Thanksgiving and awkward Asian family dinners.
As it is the end October is over. It's the beginning of November.
Yes, and people are probably wondering where our book discussion episode is.
Well, so this book discussion of our October book club book, which is Dear America by Jose Antonio Vargas. We're doing this in conjunction with This Filipino American Life, another podcast. And because of the World Series and other factors, we're recording that a little bit later. But since we want to get an episode to you at our normal like first week of the month time period, we're going to do a check-in on the latest book news, book deals, and, in Asian American publishing, Rira has put together her amazing list that I should really help out with, but I don't.
It's okay. I mean, like I sent you the email at what, like 2:30 in the morning?
It's true.
Yeah, I was procrastinating. I was really into this Netflix series, and when I checked the time, I was like, "Oh crap!"
What are you watching?
It was called Love and Sex Around the World.
Okay.
It's a new series on Netflix, and it's a documentary series. And I'm really into documentaries, so I watched like the first 3 episodes, and I was
Have you seen American Vandal?
It's my favorite show.
It got canceled.
I know. I felt so betrayed. I was like, how dare you? It's the best thing on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, I like it more than like Making a Murderer and like House of Cards. Like, its flagship series on Netflix. I liked it better than those, so I was really upset.
I feel like you're like into mockumentaries though.
I love mockumentaries and documentaries. Yeah, but that's why I sent this list to you at like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So for those of you who still haven't had the chance to read the book, you still got another week before we drop our discussion. So you still have time. It's not a very long book. It's only about 200 pages ish.
Yeah, and like it's a very small book too. So the font is pretty big. I finished it in like 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm listening to the audiobook and it's about a 5-hour like total runtime.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to it 2x speed, so it's going.
Oh, you haven't finished it?
I have not finished it.
Oh my gosh, what would have happened if like...
Well, here's my thing. I'm very deadline focused, so I work backwards from the deadline.
Okay, well, I can't really, scold you on that because I sent this list at 2:30 in the morning, the day of
right.
recording this.
But... Well, since we're already in November, Rira, what are we reading for the month of November?
We are reading Joe Ide's IQ. And I'm really excited for it because Joe Ide's series has always like been listed on like numerous like end of the year book, like best books of blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when Righteous was nominated for a bunch of things. And I know the latest book is called Wrecked and it got really good reviews as well.
So is this part of a series? Or?
Yeah, it's the first book in a series.
Okay.
And it's mystery. Like you have like kind of a a modern day Sherlock. That's what has been pitched to me. So
Okay.
I'm really excited. I love detective novels, and it's good to go back into a genre book.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've done like a crime thriller too.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. That's cool. So the book is IQ, and it's been out for a while, right? So you should
Yeah,
be
it's
able
been
to
a
get it
number
pretty-
of years. Yeah, it's definitely
should be
out on
pretty
paperback.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to picking it up and reading it. But without further ado, and before we get on to any more tangents,
Sorry.
let's move on to the latest book deals. Random House acquired Lisa Yi's Maisie Chen's diabolical plot to rule the world. The book follows an 11-year-old Maisie Chen who moves from Hollywood to Minnesota, where her grandfather's health is failing. When someone paints a racial slur on the site of the Golden Palace, which has been in her family for almost 100 years, Maisie is determined to find out who's behind it and why. Publication is slated for fall 2021, and an untitled second book is set for fall 2022.
Ooh, another restaurant book.
I feel like this is on Random House, so it's probably like middle grade or kids.
Oh, yeah.
Children's.
Speaking of Random House, I'm just gonna say there's a lot of Random House book deals for this month's list. I don't know why, but they've been on a roll
Yeah.
with Asian American authors. So you'll be
mean,
hearing a lot of Random House deals. In
I don't know if
this
it's connected to
episode.
Asian August, but it's always good to have more more diverse children's literature, right? More kidlit.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Kidlit, the next deal is Roaring Brook bought world rights to Lost by Richard Ho. The picture book tells the story of a package and its bumpy journey from sender to recipient. Jessica Lanon will illustrate the book, which is slated for fall 2020.
When will they get to the part with the smoke monster and the hatches?
Wait, what?
The smoke monster
What's Smoke Monster?
and the others? Lost.
Oh, I've never seen Lost. All references just flew past my head.
This is the children's version. It's a terrible joke. Sorry. Random House. Another Random House deal. Random House Graphic acquired 2 middle grade graphic novels by Ramina Yi. The first book, The Seance Tea Party, features Laura, a girl who's facing growing up. But when she meets a neighborhood ghost, the choices Laura has to make about facing the future grow more difficult. Publication is scheduled for 2020. Sounds like a Goosebump story.
I know. Love it. Next up is Little Simon bought world rights to Selena Yoon's new novelty series, Wag My Tail, which invites readers to wag different animals' tails using a simple, sturdy pull tab. The first title, Halloween Kitty, is slated for summer 2019, followed by Easter Bunny and Christmas Kitty. Christmas Kitty?
You know, whenever I've had these books with little pull tabs, they would last like a month at most.
I never really had those types of books.
I had a really good, I had one that was Care Bears themed. And that book is hanging on by a thread. It's like been taped back together by my parents. I actually don't know where it is right now. I'm pretty sure it's been thrown away.
My parents gave me a lot of like chapter books and nonfiction books when I was younger. So one of the first English language books that my father bought me was like this children's encyclopedia. And
I had one of those too. I had like a dictionary.
And like the really
yeah.
funny thing is like they're not like narrative focused, right?
They're
it's just like
not.
random chapters on like astrology and stuff like that. So I was like, so that was like one of the first books I read as a kid. So I don't have a lot of picture book experience. I didn't read Dr. Seuss until I was like in like
Really?
in like college.
I had all the like the Disney picture books, the ones that come with the read along tape.
Oh, yeah, that was too fancy for my family. Yeah, the only times I had Disney things was when they bought like the VHS tapes. That was like my only form of entertainment, like growing up, which is why I don't really get a lot of references. I remember we talked about this in a different episode about my lack of childhood pop culture references. Well, moving on, Random House Graphic bought Trung Lee Wen's YA graphic novel, The Magic Fish. The book is an intergenerational story about an immigrant mother and her son who is trying to find the best way to come out to his parents. Through telling each other fairy tales, they're able to find common ground. Publication is scheduled for 2020.
Now, this is the same Trung Lee that's Trungles on Twitter,
Yeah,
right?
Trungles.
Yeah.
You should follow them.
HarperCollins acquired world rights to author-illustrator Ruth Chan's The Alpacatory, which follows a factory of alpacas who come to the rescue to help with new experiences. Publication is scheduled for summer 2020, followed by an untitled second book.
Oh my God, I love alpacas. They're so cute.
Aren't they just like, weirder llamas?
Yeah, but they're fluffier. And they make really cute plushies. I don't think I've seen a llama plushie or a camel plushie. They're just not animals that
They're
you
not
make
as
into
cute
plushies.
as a plushie. Yeah, because
Exactly.
alpacas have like the flat face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really cute. Carl Rhoda bought Jenny Liu's untitled YA novel about 19-year-old Na, who has grown up in rural China while her parents lived and worked in the city. When her younger brother, the favorite child who moved to the city with her parents, dies unexpectedly, she sets out to learn what happened to him and uncovers more family secrets than she bargained for. Publication is planned for fall 2020.
That's interesting. I feel like this book has the potential to touch on a couple like things that you don't really learn about in your average American education, especially with like the modernization of China and like migrant workers. And also pretty sure it's going to touch on the one-child rule because...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
but yeah, that's cool. Houghton.
Like the stress is on the first syllable.
You know what? I've grown up saying Houghton, and I'm not about to change,
I actually looked up how to pronounce this publishing house, so you better damn well pronounce it correctly.
Houghton Mifflin Harcourt acquired Jennifer Lee Schott's new middle grade series, American Dog, a collection of adventure-filled standalone novels. Each book features a rescued dog discovering a new leash on life through friendship. Was that pun you or the copy?
No, it was the copy.
Okay, good.
Give me some credit,
a new
Marvin.
leash on life through friendship, loyalty, and the joy of finding a forever home. The series launches with the first 2 books in spring 2020, with the next to follow in fall 2020.
And next up, we have another Random House graphic deal. They bought 2 graphic novels for young readers by Mika Song, Donut Feed the Squirrels. I get it. And a sequel. Both books tell the story of Norma and Belly, 2 squirrels whose only sustenance come from acorns, until a donut truck moves to their park and they plan a heist to try out this new exciting food. Publication is scheduled to begin in 2020.
Isn't that just a nut job? Is this like the donut job?
Do not feed the squirrels. That's a really good title.
These pun jokes only work when they come out the mouths of a child. When we say it, it's not as cute.
Yeah,
Kokila bought world rights to religion scholar and activist Simranjit Singh's picture book biography on Falja Singh, who set the record as the world's oldest marathon runner at the age of 100. Bahinder Kaur will illustrate the book, which also features a foreword by Falja Singh.
I think it's Faja Singh because it's Indian. So I think it's Baljinder Kaur and Faja Singh.
Are you sure it's not Balhinder?
What? Is it Baljinder?
I'm like
someone
pronouncing this like 10 different ways. I'm so sorry.
I know. We're so sorry. We need to get better at like pronouncing like Indian names. Like I really apologize. I'll try harder.
Explain to us the J's.
We just need someone to comment on the podcast and just kind of
tweet
educate
at us at Books and Boba, or just like send us like a voice memo or something.
But just so you know, we do try.
Publication is planned for summer 2020.
Versify bought world rights to Darshana Kiani's debut picture book, How to Wear a Sari, illustrated by Joanne Liu Viratov. The picture book introduces a peppy girl who desperately wants to be noticed by her family and decides the best way to do this is to teach herself to wear a sari, just like the grown-ups. Publication is set for fall 2020.
Cool. And in a 3-book deal, Harlequin Desire picked up J.C. Lee's untitled debut romance series featuring a powerful Korean-American family. The first book follows a no-nonsense HR director who enters a marriage of convenience with the up-and-coming, swoon-worthy CEO of her company in order for her to gain custody of her orphaned niece and for him to avoid an arranged marriage.
Oh my God, I love this. I need it.
This is a K-drama. This is a K-drama plot.
JC Lee knows what I want. And that's it for a book deal. So we're going to move on to news.
According to Hollywood Report, I'm still like, are we at the point now? I mean, have romance novels always been K-drama though? You know?
I mean, romance novels, there is a great deal of soap.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm all for it.
It's just the specificity of like the HR director and her. Like, I bet he's like an aloof CEO too, maybe, or like a man child.
A man
who
child
needs to like grow up, or I don't know.
Either way, I'm excited for it. I want it.
Okay, news. Here are the latest news from the world of Asian American literature. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the Gotham Group and Cherry Entertainment have teamed up to option Samira Ahmed's upcoming YA novel Internment. Set to be published on March 19th, Internment follows Layla Amin, a Muslim teenager whose life is transformed when a new executive order forces her and her family into internment camps. For the time being, Gotham and Cherry are aiming for a film adaptation, but a limited series is possible.
So remember that really racist YA novel that came out like maybe a year and a half ago about like
The Continent?
No, it wasn't The Continent. It was about Muslims in internment camps, but it was written by a white author and
I
a
thought
lot
this wasn't that one.
No. Like I would say this is kind of a response to that terrible book.
Okay.
So like it was just kind of like, okay, like a white author who hasn't taken the time to do her research and also like doesn't really know how to write that experience. It's kind of like, okay, well, like I'm Muslim, so I'm going to write it. So I think Samira Ahmed really stepped up to create that narrative in a more authentic way.
Yeah. I wonder, like, it'll be interesting to see, because I haven't read the book or heard anything about it, but I'm sure she probably did her research on the Japanese internment during World War II and all the like the political machinations behind that, and obviously just like a response to the current times.
Oh yeah.
But it's interesting, these like socially focused stories coming out in the YA sphere because did you catch The
Hate You Give? No, I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, like it's really nice that change, that message is coming from books, and then the books are being picked up for movies. Yeah. So it really kind of starts on the page, really. Yeah,
I mean, Hollywood, I feel like, is desperate for new ideas, and picking up stories from books like makes sense in two ways, right? It makes sense in terms of like these are stories that probably haven't been made in films before, and these are stories, if they're popular enough, with a built-in fan base that'll help you market it, right? So because we've seen success with Crazy Rich Asians, with The Hunger Games, with like
pretty much every YA series that gets made into a movie.
I mean, these days, when you write a book, you should also have a script handy, probably. I don't know.
I mean, like before the book even gets published, it gets optioned. If you have a really good agent for that. Speaking of books being made into movies, this isn't on our list because I checked the news like early this morning.
So it's breaking?
It's not breaking. I feel like I'm catching up to old news. Okay. Sorry. But it's No.
Breaking news.
Is there like a slow version of that? Because that's probably like more apt.
Old news.
Old news. So this is an update on the Kiss Quotient adaptation that's happening. So Pilgrim Media Group, I think that's the name of the company that bought that optioned the book. They got Lionsgate to pick up the development of the book. So it's getting developed into a movie right now. So we have moved on to the second stage of development and production. And I'm really excited for it to be made into a movie.
So someone's writing the script.
Yeah, someone's writing the script, although they didn't announce who will be the screenwriter. But it will probably take about like 2 years at the very least to get this made.
True. Yeah, I've heard a lot about the Kiss Quotient.
Mainly from me.
From you, from our friend Jess. From like, I mean, it blew up in like the whole like lit community like a couple months ago when it came out.
Yeah, the sequel's coming out really soon too. Yeah. So it will be like good timing, I guess.
And again, it's great that we're having these books kind of bring up experiences that aren't really, not that they're not seen in films that much, but they're usually portrayed pretty like poorly.
Yeah, it's good to see some depth to the characters and their experiences.
Yeah. Well, it's the end of the year, so that means a lot of awards are being announced right now.
Yeah, or they're starting to pick people for the preliminary rounds.
Right. So Publishers Weekly announced their best books of 2018 nominees, or these are the winners?
These aren't really awards. Like Publisher Weekly comes out with like their list of best books of the year. So it's not really like an official award.
Right. So here are the highlights, right?
Yeah, here are like the books that got recognized by this publication.
Middle grade, we have Aisha Saeed's Amal Unbound and Kelly Yang's Front Desk. I actually gifted that book to my niece.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, that's a really appropriate gift for smaller kids, I think.
Yeah.
For YA, we have Adib Khorram's Darius the Great is Not Okay. I've heard great things about this book. I actually have an ARC sitting on my shelf and I haven't read it yet. I will get on that. Jen Wang's The Prince and the Dressmaker, and A Thousand Beginnings and Endings, and an anthology edited by Ellen O and Elsie Chapman. Anthology is one of those words I can't seem to say in a sentence.
Anthology?
Yeah. It's, ever.
And Eleanor, of course, is... Oh, both are part of the We Need More Diverse Books movement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In adult fiction, we have... I'm assuming this is a Chinese name, but I don't know the word, so I'm just going to butcher it. Sorry, my people. Yang Lianke's The Day the Sun Died, Yukio Mishima's The Frolic of the Beasts, Gina Apostol's Insurrecto, and Michael Ondaatje's Warlight.
Yeah. And in adult nonfiction, we have Alexander Chee's How to Write an Autobiographical Novel, essays. It's a collection. Wesley Yang's The Souls of Yellow Folk, and Sohaila Abdudali's What We Talk About When We Talk About Rape.
In mystery thriller, we have Takimaru Abiko's The Eight Mansion Murders, and Suchata Masi's The Widow of Malabar Hill.
And in comics and poetry, we have Hartley Lynn's Young Francis? I think it's Young Francis. Hartley Lynn's Young Francis for comics. And for poetry, we have Jennifer S. Chang's Moon, Letters, Maps, and Poems.
So I guess this is their list of books you should read. So if you're looking for a book to pick up that has some bona fides, check out this list. Do you know how they come up with these?
I don't know. I'm guessing that their staff kind of like have a meeting and they just kind of like find a common ground for books that they liked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good. I mean, there's a bunch of books here that I haven't heard of yet. So,
Yeah, some of them are translated pieces of work. So some of them aren't by American authors. Some of them are from overseas and they were translated, which is still kind of impressive because translated works, most of the time, you don't really hear about them until they win an award.
Cool. And there's a Goodreads competition going on right now too, right?
Yeah, a Goodreads Choice Awards. There's a lot of Asian authors in the polls right now.
And that one is like it's a user generated voted.
Yeah. If you have a Goodreads account, you can vote for your favorite books.
So you should just go down and vote for anything anything with Asian author.
Don't do that. There are some great books that aren't by Asian authors. I feel like you should just go with your gut
I am
feeling.
a team player.
Oh, man. And our last piece of news is Jillian Tamaki won the Governor General's Literary Award for Young People's Literature Illustrated Book. That's a category. For her children's book, They Say Blue. She first won the award back in 2014 with the graphic novel This One Summer, which was written by her cousin, Mariko Tamaki. And it's kind of a big deal because they both won, Jillian and Mariko, they both won this award twice. And it's really rare for Canadian authors to win this award twice. This is by the way, like a Canadian award they give out to English and French language books that came out in Canada. So
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats to them.
And if you're wondering why their names sound familiar, they wrote this graphic novel called Skim, which is kind of really lauded in the Asian American literary community. So you might have seen their work on Twitter and other recommended lists.
And I guess that'll do it for the news for this episode of Books and Boba. Happy November, everybody. Are you doing NaNoWriMo this year?
It's hard to say. Like, the thing is, I don't know if I'm going to work on one piece of writing for the rest of the month, or if I'm just going to use this month as like try to write every single day and just tally up the number of words that I have. I know that's not really what NaNoWriMo is, but like for me, it's been such a long time since I've written in prose that like, and also not even just like prose, I feel like I've kind of lost a lot of confidence in my writing. So I just really need to
doing it. I feel like
I just need to like get back on that metaphorical bicycle and just kind of like try to remember how to write in prose and just be okay with making a lot of bad sentences and not beat myself over it too much. But I'm not really pressured to write a novel for this month because I just feel like that's too much stress and anxiety for me. But if you're doing NaNoWriMo and you're planning to write the first draft of your novel, good luck. I'm cheering for you. There have been some great books by Asian American authors who began like writing with NaNoWriMo. I know C.B. Lee started writing her first novel and Not Your Sidekick during NaNoWriMo. So it's possible, you guys, if you just keep at it. And
it's just so much writing.
Not in the grand scheme of things, it's not. It's 50,000 words. That's like the...
That sounds like a lot.
50,000 words is not even like a novel. That's more like a novella nowadays. I feel like the number of words that you need for like a decently long, like a decent novel is like 80,000 words. I think that's like the range that publishers are looking for.
Well, good luck to everybody. Have a great time reading. Don't forget, our November book club pick is IQ by Joe Ide, the first book of the IQ series. And you still have a week to read Dear America by Jose Antonio Vargas, our October book club pick, before listening to our discussion next week with along with our friends at this Filipino American Life podcast. And don't forget to join our Goodreads group. We'd always love to have you and have more people discuss books with us, especially if you're reading stuff that we're not reading. It'd be cool to hear like what you think about other books that we've been mentioning.
Like send us books that like let us know what books you're reading, and if they're by an Asian or Asian American author, just like slide into our DMs, and we love to talk to them because we like talking to authors on this podcast.
This podcast is a proud member of the Potluck Podcast Collective, a collective of Asian American hosted podcasts featuring unique voices and stories from our Asian American communities. Check out our other great shows such as the Collabcast, First of All, They Call Us Bruce, Saturday School, and more by going to our website at www.podcastpotluck.com. And this podcast was also recorded at the Potluck Podcast Studios, located within the offices of Visual Communications. Visual Communications, of course, is an organization that supports Asian American filmmakers and media artists through their programs such as the Armed with Camera Fellowship and the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival, the biggest Asian American film festival in the city of Los Angeles. And happy November, Rita.
I really hate holiday months. You're going back to a circle, circling back to the beginning of this podcast.
We'll talk to you all next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.